Welcome back to the Wolf Pit. Today I'm making the ultimate Eggslut sandwich, 2 different ways. Now that's a pretty odd name for a sandwich, so it's gotta be good, right? Well, Eggslut is actually the name of a handful of restaurants on the West Coast, and this sandwich happens to be its namesake. So the sandwich is not the dirty girl with the bad reputation we once thought it was. I'll be here all week, ladies and gentlemen. The bad humor must go on. In the meantime, let's make this very simple, delicious, and filling sandwich. Let's start by making the very complicated and time-consuming Sriracha mayonnaise. In a small bowl, combine mayonnaise, and Sriracha, and the amount of Sriracha you use is totally up to you. If you want it spicier, add more. If you want it not so spicy, add less. And then give it a good mix until it's well blended. Now wrap it in plastic wrap and place it into the refrigerator until you're ready to serve. And now for the green onion topping. I have a bunch of green onions that I'm going to cut the green parts into about 3-inch pieces. If you'd like a full printable copy of this recipe with a full list of ingredients and easy to follow directions, visit thewolfpit.com. Now squeeze all the green onions together lengthwise and julienne them as thin as you can. Or Marianne them, I don't care. Just do whatever you got to do to cut them real thin. Now take the green onions and put them in a bowl of ice water. That'll keep the onions nice and bright and fresh. It was also supposed to help the onions curl. I obviously bought the non-curling onions because mine didn't curl. Like I said at the start of the video, we're going to make these ultimate Eggslut sandwiches 2 different ways. The first way is with Spam. Until very recently, I didn't like Spam whatsoever. But somehow, I've accidentally acquired a taste for Spam. I'm still not ready to say I love Spam, but I do think it gets a bad rap. I think a lot of people think Spam has the same ingredients as potted meat, from the rooter to the tutor. And if you don't immediately understand what from the rooter to the tutor means, think of the anatomy of a pig. It's basically an old country saying, meaning nothing is wasted from the pig. But there's actually only 2 specific cuts of pork in Spam. Pork shoulder and ham, 2 very common pieces of pork that we eat often. There you go, Hormel. I just defended your product. Now show me the money. Now back to the Spam. You can cut it as thick or as thin as you like. I'm going to cut it fairly thin. Now fry the Spam in a skillet over medium heat. And of course, use your finger to see if the pan is hot, like a true genius. Now see, somebody else is going to do this and then burn their finger and sue the pan company for not having a pop-up timer to let them know the pan is hot. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people with that mentality and they will sue anybody for their own stupidity. And now for the disclaimer so I don't get sued. Don't touch the pan. It's hot. Now fry the Spam over medium heat for 45 minutes or until nice and golden brown and crispy. Once it's golden brown, flip it over and let it go for another 3 to 4 minutes until the other side is nice and golden brown and crispy. Now remove the Spam and set aside. Now let's prepare the second choice of meat for the Eggslut sandwich. Pork loin. And Eggslut brines their pork loin. I just bought enhanced pork. Since it's basically already brined for you, it saves a step. Now dust the pork chops in cornstarch that's been lightly salted. There I go, touching and tapping my meat again. I thought I was cured. I guess I need to go back to Meat Tappers and Touchers Anonymous. Eggslut deep fries their pork chops. I just pan fried mine in a little bit of vegetable oil. There was no sense in using a bunch of oil just for 4 pork chops. Now let these fry for 4 to 5 minutes. I have a really big issue. I cannot keep my hands off my meat. And then give them a flip and let them go for another 3 to 4 minutes or until they reach an internal temperature of between 140 and 145. And like I said in a previous video, if you're leery of pink pork and you want your pork chops cooked well done, go ahead and ruin them and cook them to 160 degrees. And I'm definitely not trying to be a food snob, I'm just trying to give you the best advice I can to give you moist and tender pork. Now remove the pork and drain it on a wire rack so the crust remains crispy. Now for the bread, we're using Hawaiian sweet rolls. And when I say rolls, I mean rolls. There's 4 per sandwich. And just slice them in half. And if you've never had Hawaiian sweet rolls, hit that pause button, go to the store right now, and get a pack. They're awesome. Now toast them in a dry pan for 45 seconds to a minute. And I already know what you're thinking. Why didn't he put butter in the pan? Eggslut specifically says they don't like to use butter when toasting the rolls. And I definitely agree with that, because the rolls are already nice and rich and buttery as they are. Now we're finally going to add some butter to the pan, because you need eggs for an eggslut sandwich. Otherwise, it's just a slut sandwich. Even with me with my sick mind, that just sounds wrong on every level and doesn't sound appetizing. Now add 2 large fresh eggs. And they even have a certain way to cook the eggs, and it's called marbling. It's where you take your spatula, break the yolk, and swirl it into the white. I obviously did it wrong because my eggs didn't look like marbles. Now sprinkle fresh chives on top of the eggs and let them continue cooking without flipping until they're cooked through. Now remove the eggs and let's finally put this sandwich together. I never thought a simple egg sandwich would turn into the longest video I've ever made. Now let's lather a very generous amount of our homemade, very complicated Sriracha mayonnaise onto our Hawaiian sweet rolls. Then add 2 pieces of Spam to 1 set of sweet rolls. And the fried pork loin to the other. The fried eggs. The julienned green onions. And finally, the top layer of the Hawaiian sweet rolls that have also been slathered with the Sriracha mayonnaise. And there you have it, the ultimate egg slut sandwich. This is one slut your mother wouldn't mind you bringing home. All jokes aside, this sandwich seems and is ridiculously simple. But all those flavors worked magic together, and it shows you don't have to spend a lot of money or be fancy to make delicious food. The Hawaiian sweet rolls really complemented the salty Spam and pork. The green onions and chives added a nice crunch and freshness. The Sriracha mayonnaise added a little spice and richness along with the fried eggs. Now I can understand why they call this the ultimate egg slut sandwich. Absolutely delicious. Even if you're turned off by the name, give it a try. You'll love it. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you give this a try. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.